And welcome. We are going live. Yeah. Okay. That is not what I meant to click on. That's what I want to click on. There we go. You don't care about the social comments displaying wherever. How y'all doing? We are here for day 3 of the 5-day non-monogamy challenge. And today is the topic that I am guessing most of you have been at least expecting, if not waiting for, right? Because when people think about non-monogamy, jealousy is usually like one of the top questions, comments, concerns, challenges, whatever, right? So today we're going to talk about jealousy, the green-eyed monster. Hello, Cobalt. Always pleasure. Jealousy. Are you a jealous person? How do you know? Like, really, seriously, how do you know if you're a jealous person or not? Because someone told you? I mean, I've been told that I was acting jealously. Had to figure out what word that I was meaning to use there. I've been told I was acting jealously when I absolutely wasn't. I was acting on another feeling, experience entirely. So, how do you know if you're jealous? Because when we're taught to identify how we feel by how others react to us, we sometimes are taught wrong. And you might be jealous, but what if instead of being jealous, you're possessive or envious? Because all of those things mean something different inside of you, even if another person might experience them as they might experience jealousy. And you might say, well, if they experience it as they might experience jealousy, then there's no practical difference. No, there is. There is a practical difference, because where those emotions or concepts come from matter. So we're going to start there. We're going to start with jealousy, possession, and envy. And then we're going to move through some thoughts and ideas about jealousy, specifically in non-monogamous relationships. However, let me be clear, as I have been every day so far this week and will continue to be for, I don't know, all of my life, that anything, any skill that helps you be more successful in non-monogamy will also help you be more successful in monogamy or in your friendships or whatever, down at its root. So, hello, Sabyasachi. Always a pleasure. Cobalt says, feeling excluded can look jealous. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about envy, possessiveness, and jealousy. Shall we? What is envy? What is it? Well, envy is feeling discontented or feeling a sense of longing for what someone else has or receives, right? So how they look. I am envious of how someone looks. I am envious of the luck that they've had in life. Or when it comes to something like non-monogamy, I am envious of my partner going paddleboarding with them when I have wanted to go paddleboarding with my partner. That's not jealousy. But I want that. And I wanted it before they wanted it. And they're getting it. That's envy, right? I'm not in that situation saying to myself or to my partner, I am worried or fearful about losing you. I'm just envious that they're getting something that I want, right? Sabyasachi says, I feel jealousy is one of the biggest obstacles to non-monogamous relationships. I think jealousy is actually one of the bigger obstacles in any relationship. And it behooves us to try to figure this out because it's human to experience it. And yet the way we often act upon it is really unpleasant and unproductive, right? Cobalt, is there a difference between envying a partner's NRE with another and being jealous? Yes, I would say there absolutely is. I mean, not unlike we were talking yesterday when we were talking about change, right? And NRE, or for those of you who may not know what NRE is, new relationship energy. Because when all of a sudden you are watching your partner who has, settled into a life. Now, this weekend at notcheating.com, this weekend, our event, which is free to attend, there is no cost to attend live. Dan and Dawn will be talking about balancing NRE, new relationship energy, with MRE, mature relationship energy. So, might be worth checking that out because those two have a lot to say. I mean, they created the polyamory toolkit, and they're going to be talking about NRE and MRE, and I think that is beautiful. But here's the thing, I am in a nesting relationship with my partner. I live with my partner. We see each other a lot. And so there is, by necessity, a certain amount of settling in, right? Casually getting to know each other, whatever. And it's really easy to get sort of filled up by this mature relationship energy. I know you, I adore you. I'm going to bed at 9 p.m. and you're not going to try to keep me up and keep me excited and looking deep into your eyes and being all romantic because we have our entire lives and every freaking day to do this, right? But then someone else comes into the picture and all of a sudden they're doing all of the things, those romantic, Twitter baited, super sweet things for them. Yes, envy. Absolutely. I don't feel like I'm ever going to lose my partner to anything other than my own fuck ups. That is the only way I believe I'm ever going to lose my partner. But to envy that new relationship romance, sure. Which is why I suggested yesterday, start balancing that out. Start taking people that are in your life out on romantic dates more often, especially if you start adding in somebody new. I'm not sure what Dan and Dawn are going to say about NRE versus MRE, but there's definitely differences, and they're good. It doesn't mean you won't be envious. In fact, sometimes when you're in like NRE, you've got a new relationship, you could be envious of the person who has that super comfortable life with them, right? They're already there. They already get to like sit on the couch and poke their toes under their legs and like read a book while they watch TV at night until they go to bed together or whatever it is, right? It goes both ways. Envy can go in both directions. Now, Cobalt, you just asked, can you define jealousy? Interestingly enough, that's exactly where I was going next. So let's talk about jealousy. What is jealousy? Jealousy is feeling or showing suspicion of someone's unfaithfulness in a relationship, or fiercely protective or vigilant of one's rights or possessions because you're afraid they're going to be damaged or you're going to lose them, right? So jealousy is a fear of losing somebody or a suspicion that you've already started losing them and they're lying about it. If you compare that against envy, you're going to see there's a radical difference there. And then there's like possessive, right? Like, this is mine, a desire to own, demanding someone's total attention and love. It's like an obsession, a mania, right? But in kink, we also have possession. So can you desire to own someone and yet still not be jealous? I say yes. Now, I will be clear, owning someone and that type of language for some people in non-monogamy, especially polyamory, is going to feel ick. Like they don't like that. They don't even like the idea of like sharing your partner because they say you can only share something that you own, and possessiveness is not a part of non-monogamy or polyamory. I don't necessarily think that is true. First of all, you can share something you don't own. Like if a friend gives me a glass of water and I take a drink out of it, I have just shared that with them. So I can share my partner and fully recognize that he is an autonomous human being, right? Ownership, though, like, and I take ownership into a sense of belonging. You belong to me. We belong together, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't mean one and only. In kink, there's definitely, things that go along with that. That's okay. Here's the thing, though. Ownership does not necessarily mean that I then have a greater fear of sharing or losing or whatever. I own a car. If somebody else were to drive that car, am I afraid that the car is going to leave me and go off with them? No. If I have a dog and somebody else walks that dog, am I afraid that my dog's going to love them more all of a sudden? No. Now, granted, humans aren't cars and humans aren't dogs. But again, why would we give the people in our lives less benefit of the doubt than we give a dog. So, possessiveness is often used negatively. But for me, it's like, I own this. This is mine. I am proud of this. I like to show this off. I like to share this with others because it's mine. I like others to take joy from this and know that they enjoy what is mine. I own this. This is mine. I call this possessive. That said, I don't do that unless my partner agrees to that sense of feeling. And in my wider circle of poly non-monogamy, like, I absolutely call people my this, my that. It is a sense of possessiveness, but that does not negate their autonomy, right? So were I to use the words that I feel apply to me most often, I would say I am very rarely jealous because I'm incredibly secure in my relationships and what I bring to the table and what I offer and why people might like me. I am sometimes envious. Like, ooh, they're getting something that's super awesome. And it's really funny. Like, they might be getting something that's super awesome. I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally envy that. And then I'm like, ooh, I don't even want that. What the hell am I thinking? And I am often, almost always, possessive. I see the people in my life as mine to protect, mine to love, mine to hold, whatever. And to be clear, it goes the other way around. Like, in less than 2 weeks, I'm going in for surgeries. And afterwards, like, people are like, oh my goodness, if you need anything, you just let me know. And I'm like, for the first 2 weeks after my surgeries, I'm probably going to want to be left alone more than anything. And I'm not going to be able to, because my partner and my girlfriend are going to be like mama bearing me the entire time. And it's going to drive me insane. Right? So if I own them, frankly, they get to own me. Now, again, some people in polyamory, monogamy, whatever, they're going to feel like those words are problematic. That's fine. I am not saying that you have to use these words in the way that I do. I'm saying that these are different ways of looking at the experiences from inside yourself to determine, are you jealous? Are you fearful? Are you thinking that somebody is being unfaithful? Or are you simply looking at somebody else and saying, gosh, I wish I was getting that? Or, ooh, that's mine, and I don't think I'm ready to share. You see? Because they come from different places. Now, when you are jealous, when you're feeling jealousy, because a lot of people say, oh, I couldn't be non-monogamous because I'm so jealous, as if like jealousy isn't allowed in those lifestyles, like non-monogamy, swinging, polyamory, whatever. And I'll tell you this, it's there. It's treated differently than in most monogamous relationships. It's not welcomed and invited in or even desired. But the best non-monogamists I know acknowledge their jealousy when they are feeling it, accept it, and have learned to talk about and with it. Wait, what? With their jealousy? What you talking about, Nookie? So I say it can really help to make friends with the green-eyed monster and talk to it and see what's up. Like, hey, Green-eyed monster. You're feeling jealous and you're worried about me. I appreciate that. What exactly are you thinking could go wrong? Right? And by asking that part of yourself a question like that, it helps you start getting to something specific. So you can focus on facts rather than fancies born of fear and insecurity. So, like, for example, they want to leave me. Okay, let's look at that. Is there a reason you think that? And then why would they want to leave you but aren't actually leaving you? And if they do want to leave you, will that really be the end of the world for you? Or how about they'll spend all of their time with, this other person and I'll feel left out? Actually, you probably will. You're going to feel left out at multiple points in your life. That's natural, even with friends. Yeah, right? I've certainly felt left out when my friends have done things without me. But all the time, right? When you start paying attention to how you exaggerate in your mind, you realize that you are exaggerating, and examining that helps shine light on it. What about their other partner will be better at sex than I am? Well, you know what? Might be true. So what? What does that really mean? Do you really think they're going to leave you for the sex? Would you leave somebody that you loved just because you found better sex someplace else? Would you want someone in your life as a partner who would leave someone just because they got better sex elsewhere? Cobalt says, I envy extroverts because they can be happy around people, and I wish I could. I am both happy around people and super happy alone. And I have to balance that very carefully. Past 2 nights, I've had people over, and I am a little dink. And I'm not going to get a whole lot of rest this week putting together the It's Not Cheating event that we've got coming up this weekend and making all the things happen. And then next week, it's going to be people, doctors and surgeons and pre-ops and all the things before I go into seclusion for a while. I envy people who don't have to go through that. What about your brain saying something like, they won't love me anymore? That suggests that maybe you're feeling some sort of way because they're not showing you how much they love you in ways that you need to feel it, which is totally fair. But now you have a starting point for conversation, right? I'd really love to spend some one-on-one time this weekend, just you and me. Maybe we could have a picnic and reconnect. Or whatever you need to ask for to help move things in the right direction. It's your feelings we're talking about. Your fears and insecurities, they are also yours, right? And it's key because wow, that's really loud. Sometimes the challenge of polyamory or non-monogamy is that regardless of whether you're feeling envy or possessiveness or jealousy, or you've just got a gut feeling or whatever, there's like sometimes no good way to go around communicating. I don't feel good about that. I don't feel right about that. I think you're making a mistake without it being seen as jealousy, which to me is exactly the wrong way to do this. I mean, if you're going to do non-monogamy, shouldn't you be doing your best to be choosing good partners? And if you're choosing good partners, then whether they are acting from jealousy or not, you still want to work with them on how they are feeling, right? So you've chosen your partners because they're fucking amazing, right? So when they say, "Oh, that one that you've been talking to gives me the creeps," or "I don't feel comfortable opening our lives to her." Why would you, as so many people do, go to the first thought that your partner is just being jealous? I'm not saying they're not jealous. They absolutely might be. But most of the non-monogamous people I know work very hard to separate whatever jealousy they have from other feelings, like the gut feelings of this person is not okay, right? And they'll wrestle it in their minds, trying to remove any bias. Ask themselves, do I have ulterior motives? I'm going to try to hold out as long as possible. Maybe I'm wrong, or like, I don't want to feel like I'm taking away, your happiness, right? They go through all of this and then they'll finally say something to you, trying to be a good, communicative, non-monogamous partner. And you might be like, "Oh, you're just being jealous." That's no good. I mean, after all, you chose them because they're awesome, right? You've chosen each other for good reasons. You trust your partners in so much. And then you can't even validate them. You can't even say, "Tell me more. I want to hear your feelings. I may not agree with you. I may not choose to do what you're asking of me, but I want to hear your feelings. I want to ask you questions about your feelings. I want to understand why you think that that person's kind of creepy, or why that person is not okay." Why not trust that while they may or may not be jealous or envious or possessive or whatever it is, they have something important to communicate to you, and take that communication and thank them and really think on it. After all, and yes, I do know I'm beating a dead horse here, but you trust them, right? You trust your partner or partners. Do you suddenly not trust them because you have a boner for this new person? And by boner, I mean like lady boner, man boner, NB boner, Boing! I wanna do the things. And if you don't trust your partner just because, or even if you don't trust your partner sort of like all the time, then maybe the issue is that you're in a relationship with somebody you don't trust and not your jealousy or their jealousy, right? Or do you just not want to hear honesty or negative things while you're enjoying, the blissful blinders of new relationship energy. It's turning it around, right? If you say something, hey, I get a bad feeling about this, and they say to you, you're just being jealous. Suck it up, buttercup. How would that make you feel? And so when you turn that around, are you willing to validate and engage with them? But how you communicate jealousy is important. Cobalt says, my partner's jealousy is valid too, but I know we both feel a need to be clearly understood as we are. And amazing how shaming one another for having feels is so deeply ingrained in our culture. Oh, good Lord, yes. Deeply ingrained. And it's like we can shame people for emotions, like good emotions, negative emotions. Like we are socialized in such a way that we can shame people for anything. You think that's funny? God, that's so dumb. Why are you so happy? What right do you have to be happy? Nobody wants to hear how in love you are. Could you just stop? God, it's disgusting. Jealousy is no different. So, one thing that makes a huge difference in having a successful relationship discussion about jealousy. Two simple words, one simple concept. Take ownership. That's it. Simple. But we are not taught to take ownership. We are not socialized to own our feelings, probably because shaming and being shamed for feelings is so much an accepted part of our culture. And we make that an accepted part of our relationships. You're not allowed to be mad at me. Look at everything I do for you. Ah, in love with me. Really? Like you've only known me 6 weeks. How ridiculous is that? Right? It makes it very difficult to take ownership of our feelings in order to communicate them. But when we are feeling jealousy, envy, possessiveness, whatever, how we take ownership matters. It matters a great deal. So let's say one of my partners is like totally into this chick, right? And she is drop dead gorgeous. And she does this thing that, I may not love, but I wouldn't normally think much about. And instead of saying to my lover, whoo, she's really gorgeous and I'm feeling a little insecure right now, I say, I don't like her. She's rotten. Did you see the way she did that? Which not only doesn't address the issue that's at the core of my bad feelings, but it also then puts my lover on the defensive by calling his ability to choose partners into question, and could make him feel bad for no reason except to hit him below the belt so that he cannot go on the offense and shame me for my personal insecurities and my vulnerability. And being on the receiving end of the deflection, it then makes me mad to be put on the spot defending my choices, defending this person. Oh, and believe me, I've been the person getting all catty and nasty and whatever. Sometimes I had good reason. Other examples of this. You ignored me. You were mean to me. Starting it with you when talking about how I am feeling immediately puts someone on the defensive. And we do that so we can hide and protect our own hurt and pain. And we don't have to take ownership. Right? So instead, we might try statements like, I'm feeling a little bit insecure right now. Would you give me a hug? Or, I would love to set aside some time to give each other our undivided attention. Can we do that? Or, Friday night at dinner, could we spend some time together and discuss whatever? Or, I'm feeling a bit lonely right now because I feel like I don't get to see the people I love as much as I want to. Right? A couple weeks ago, I said to my partner, I'm like, he had a plan that evening. And I said to my partner, I'm like, I'm feeling a little sorry for myself, just so you know, because I'm not fully recovered. I can't go out and do a whole bunch of stuff. And this person is busy, and that person is busy, and this person is doing that, and that person's doing that. And I'm kind of wanting some company, and I can't seem to get any, and I'm going to sit at home and pout. But I don't want you to do anything about it. Except no, I want you to know because you're my partner and this is important to me. Right? I did not make my feelings his responsibility. I just told him so he could know. And he sent me sweet texts through the evening. A friend did end up coming over. He said, great, because I was going to have so-and-so and so-and-so, send you a text and maybe get on a Zoom call with you. Now I'll let them know that you've got that company and they don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Because when you take the responsibility for your feelings onto your own shoulders, you put yourself in charge again. And you allow yourself either the space to address them or the space to just sit and feel them and figure out what they're trying to tell you. And by taking responsibility for your own feelings, you're making the choice to respect yourself and your partner with trust, with the truth, and again, with what your feelings are trying to tell you. So, to wrap this up, how do you know once you've gone through all of this and you're like, yes, I can communicate this, and yes, this, that, and the other thing. But how do you know what your feelings are trying to tell you? Well, there's 2 steps to that and then one final step. The first step to understanding what your feelings are trying to tell you is to give yourself space to feel them. If you go around trying to get people to fix you, you're not giving yourself the space to feel your feelings, right? Step number 1. Step number 2 is, I mentioned this before, ask your feelings what they're trying to tell you. Now you can do this verbally like I did. Hey, jealousy. I get it. You're feeling, a little concerned for me. I appreciate that. What exactly are you afraid of? And then just listen to yourself. For me, what I really like to do is journal. I don't journal every day. I'm not a diary writer. I never have been. But when it comes to ordering my thoughts, especially around complex ideas like jealousy, journaling is the way to go. So I'll write out just really simple. What am I feeling? Or how do I feel? Or what are my feelings trying to tell me? Just a super simple prompt. And then I'll just write. And I won't stop writing. Like, even if it's, what am I feeling? I don't know what I'm feeling. I'm feeling a little like down. I don't really have a reason to. I've had a really great day. I've had a really great week. I am definitely feeling loved, but I'm feeling a little sorry for myself. And it's a gray day outside, and my partner is off doing this thing. And why do I even care if he's off doing this thing versus doing that thing? I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm feeling all alone right now. And what I need to do is I need to call up a friend, or I need to, put some effort into really reconnecting with my friends or whatever. And I will just keep writing and writing and writing and writing and writing until I'm done. And I'll put that aside. And if the feeling comes back up, I'll do the exact same thing. And I have personally found over a couple of days, over a couple of weeks, all of a sudden, everything coalesces and I get it. And once I get it, I understand what my feelings are trying to tell me, and I can do something about it. Right? Because jealousy is not about what someone else does. Jealousy is about how you feel. Right? You with me on that? How do you address feelings someone denies having? You don't. You don't. You address what they give you. You address what they consent to talk about with you. If they're denying having feelings, you can't do shit about that. They aren't your feelings. You know how many times in a relationship I have been told by somebody that, like, they knew that I was going to be angry and they knew I was angry when I wasn't angry? Cannot address feelings that someone denies having because maybe they don't have them. Maybe what they're experiencing is something radically different from what you would be experiencing if you were acting that way. And you can't do anything about that. Do we have any additional questions about jealousy in a relationship? Because I feel like a lot of people want sort of like a more simple answer. What do I do if? And when it comes to jealousy, the challenge is that there is no simple answer. But the answer that I've given you over the past 45 minutes gives you a series of skills and thoughts that, if you start putting into practice, will change the sort of charged or insistent nature of your jealousy into something that you can become friends with. You can hold to yourself and communicate with and understand where fears are coming from, what those fears are, and so on. And that's important, right? Cobalt says, sorry for dominating the chat. Cobalt, while there are quite a few people out there actually watching, you're the only one speaking up right now. So I'm hoping that those of you who are out there watching on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, et cetera, are getting what you need. And if not, I do hope you'll leave a comment or that you'll send a message to, let's see, I can type this in there, to hello@curiouser.life, or you can text us. There we go. At 919-299-1108 if you have any additional questions. And don't forget, not cheating. It's coming up this weekend. It starts on Friday. Right there. Starts on Friday. There is no cost to join us live. Friday evening, we're talking about the legal aspects of non-monogamy. On Saturday, we're going to start off at 10 a.m. Eastern time, talking about non-monogamy. I do what I want and you can too. And then we're going to have a full day of presentations. And then we're going to do the whole thing all over again on Sunday with a different roundup. So Katie says, thanks for speaking up, Cobalt. Muscled Karma says, this has been very helpful. I'm knitting and listening. So yay, excellent. Thank you so much for speaking up. I do love to hear from y'all, even if it's something like, hey, I'm here, I'm paying attention, I'm learning a little something here and there. That's really, really useful to me. Do please hit like, hit subscribe, ask questions once the video is posted, shoot me a note. Join us this weekend. I am super duper excited about what is coming up this weekend and all the information that we're going to be sharing. I'm also sort of exhausted thinking about it. So yeah. And have an amazing day tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow, same time, I'm going to be talking about compersion. Yeah, so a lot of polyamory or non-monogamy groups are talking about compersion as if it's an antidote to jealousy. I don't think so, but it's really incredibly valuable, and I'd like to talk with you about that. And then on Friday, before It's Not Cheating begins in the evening, we will be finishing up, rounding out the 5-day non-monogamy challenge with the most important rules for non-monogamy. So yeah, super excited. Anyway, have an amazing day wherever you happen to be, whether you're watching me live or you're watching my replay, and I will look forward to seeing you this weekend. Thanks, y'all.